Okay. Right off that agenda. Maybe. No, you lost yours. Yeah, I did. Okay, next item. The next item on the agenda is item number 10 for 925 Chapala Street. I apologize to the applicant that we are behind 15 minutes. This is a proposal to remodel a former auto muffler repair shop into office space for City Fire Station number 1. This is a review after final to consider previous HLC directive to retain poured in place concrete on the south elevation. Staff, I believe you have some comments.
Mr. Chair, Historic Landmarks Commission. This applicant came forward to staff requesting consideration of this issue, and I wanted to provide you some information if you don't recollect with the discussion. Back in 2010, when they proposed this renovation, there was a request by the architect to have some improvements made on this elevation of the building. And at the time, I did listen to the tape, and there was some discussion with our urban historian at the time as to whether this poured-in-place concrete wall was a character-defining element and should be retained. And today you're going to hear some information that will add into that discussion and a request to reconsider that decision. And I believe there's some basis for it. So I'll turn that over to the applicant.
Okay, and then I will actually read the minutes from the last meeting. If I can find them, hold on, please. This was a concept review in June of 2010. Final approval with the following conditions. Minimum 5-gallon dense evergreen flowering vines shall be provided, and the parapet cap shall be simple sheet metal painted out to match the board form concrete of color without stucco. Okay, if you could introduce yourselves for the record and give us a presentation.
I'm Richard Christian with KBZ Architects.
Welcome.
I'm Ron Lichty, Administrative Services Manager for the City of Santa Barbara Fire Department.
Welcome.
I'm Andy DiMizio, Fire Chief for the City of Santa Barbara.
Welcome. Go ahead.
All right. We initially, our initial design we presented did include plastering the south and west walls of the building to match the front facade of the building, which has been plastered from the very beginning. We are doing substantial improvements to the south wall. We're adding a staff entrance with a canopy, some planters, stairs, railings, a small ramp, and we felt strongly that that improvement should, the plastering of that side of the building would enhance that improvement. As you can see from the photo, that wall is very visible driving on Chapala. Since our original presentation, we have discovered this original photograph. The building was constructed in 1928, and at the time it was constructed next to the existing fire station. And the reason that building was never plastered is because it was up against that existing fire station. And it would remain that way for the first 30-odd years until the new fire station was constructed and the old one was demolished. So we felt like, from a historical standpoint, that wall was never intended to be exposed. And now that it is, we'd like to bring it up to a good appearance, similar to the front facade, which has always been plastered.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
The parapet would remain the same?
Yes.
This parapet detail that we had here,
Yes.
which is that detail there. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I also thought that given that new information and the need to waterproof that side of the building, that it seemed the logical thing to have that side improved. So,
Do you mean it's not waterproof now?
well, it's in deteriorated condition, so I think it opens up a question of whether it should be improved in that manner.
Okay. Questions from the Commission? Commissioner Arias? Commissioner Boucher? Commissioner Murray? Lavoie? And Schallenberger, any questions?
Why didn't you say so? If we would have known that back then.
I wish we had done our homework a little better at that point, yes.
Question I have is, when was the fire station torn down? In other words, how long has this wall been exposed as board form concrete?
I believe it was in the 60s. That's when the new one was constructed.
Mr. Chair, that would have been right around 1959, 1960.
Okay, so we've exposed that wall for more than 50 years. Comments, Commissioner Orias?
No, I just think it's a good idea what you're proposing. I think it enhances the downtown and the streetscape.
Commissioner Boucher, any comments?
You have public hearing open.
Oh, God, I always forget
Can
that.
I see the picture
Sorry.
of the old...
Yeah, I'm going to actually open public comment, and I see one member of the public, Mr. DeForest.
What is the agenda number?
The item number?
Yeah.
You can fill that out later. It's item number 10. Go ahead with your comments, Mr. DeForest. Thank you.
What? Okay. It would be nice that because this is Chapala Street is an important street. It was nice when the fire department was there. It was a solid buildings, and now we have that place where the fire station is. It's just a vacant lot, or appears to be a vacant lot. I'm sure it's going to be used for parking. I think it would be nice if it was planted or something on Chapala Street that so the facade of the muffler shop or now your private isn't so blatant. It looks like a building should be put next. The fire station or some building should be next to it to cover that big white wall. So possibly it could be planted with planting along Chapala Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeForest. Seeing no other public, I will close the public comment, bring it back to the commission, and...
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner
as I recall...
O'Shea.
Oh, thank you.
As I recall, this is a way to bring the fire trucks out and in. Just wanted to check. Thank you.
Any questions from anyone else? Comments?
Yes.
Commissioner Lavoie, comment?
I wasn't here for the previous review, so...
This is somewhat late. While I'd missed the Benton Brood, if you're going to plaster it, you need to have a better parapet detail.
Yes.
No exposed,
Well,
without exposed sheet metal. Okay, so your plaster's wrapping over the sheet metal.
no, the plaster will be
Will.
under the sheet metal.
Okay.
Okay, because this was
This
approved with...
detail will be
okay.
modified to...
This is approved without plaster, okay. I actually have a question, and we don't seem to have a plan, but would it be possible to get another tree in this location at the bottom of the ramp? And maybe I missed it there. Oh, that's your whole landing.
Bicycle parking in this area.
It's so bicycle would ostensibly go there to there, right?
Go this way.
Okay.
To keep this access open.
Could we create another tree pocket there?
I think it'd be too close to the building.
You probably need a root garden.
Okay.
We are adding 3 palm trees, a total of 5. There are 2 there now.
Okay. Any other comments?
It's within the guidelines. It doesn't have an adverse impact on the resource.
Any other? Okay, do you want to make a motion to that effect?
Did we already approve the remodel?
Yeah, I think we did.
I remembered.
Yeah, yeah.
But I wasn't sure. if we had
That's
final.
finalized. So it's just this is just a change from
Of the changes as proposed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Schallenberger, second by Orias. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You're on your way.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I have that detail, Mr. Lavoie? Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is item number 11. This is 651 Paseo Nuevo. This is second concept review. Action may be taken if sufficient information is provided. This is proposed enhancements to Paseo Nuevo. Phase 1 of the project includes concept review of benches, tables, chairs, pottery, umbrellas, new ribbon, flagpole element, so on and so forth. If you could state your names for the record and give us a presentation, please.
My name is Henry Lenny with Henry Lenny Design Studio. And
Welcome.
With me, Brian Mills from DMA.
That's what they presented to you.
And I believe you've seen this project previously. And maybe in the interest of time, we'll just...
Yeah, be sure to speak loudly into the microphone.
Are you sure you want me to do that?
Yes.
Speak louder?
With
Right. The first package contains a lot of chairs, tables. There was some artwork that was being proposed and so on and so forth. And maybe we can just go page by page on this
Or something like that.
to show you what we've done. We kept the format the same as previous, although some of the design components have changed a little bit. And so, in general, this is a key map that actually shows what it is that we're proposing in different areas. And maybe it would be useful if we just jump right into the specifics of this. As far as the benches are concerned, and we read your comments and we read the minutes, and so we thought that we can actually start. One of the comments that you made rather strongly, not only this time, but initially when the Paseo was built, is that it should have some reference to the old Paseo, and it should really look an extension. And we thought that even though in this day and age you can probably not do the El Paseo anymore, but we can certainly take some of the amenities and accessories and then try to duplicate them. First of all, the idea of the benches, and we can just jump into that. We propose to use, this is a sample that we really liked to do the benches on. We are in the process of doing full-size samples just to see how they're going to look. But I will show you some.
My husband took it out of the trash at the Biltmore.
You're kidding? Really?
He painted it beautiful.
You're lucky.
So it fell apart.
Well, Jamie Nelson, who is quite good at these things, and so we showed him what we liked, but we also showed him that this was going to be applied to commercial use. And so what he was proposing is something with far more durable wood. The sign is similar in spirit. There will be some changes from what you see here and there, but these are the initial sketches that Ryan and I are working with this furniture maker here in town. And then this is another example of where we're heading. And so want to make sure that we don't copy, but we do something unique to Paseo
More
Nuevo.
ones were painted a beautiful teal green.
They
okay,
are painted.
Commissioner Boucher, thank you.
Sorry.
We're still exploring whether we're going to stain them or paint them or what are we going to do. But yeah, I know what you mean. So that's the direction with the
Okay.
benches. Now, there is one bench and I'm going to bounce around that I think you should know about. And let's see. The one bench is that, remember this bench that we were going to use for the Parks Department and found them in Mexico?
Yes.
And now they finally installed them in that little park. Well, we're going to use something similar in a very specific location here. You know. And so the design may not be identical to this, but it would be like this. As you know, this is the typical park bench that you find in Spain and in Mexico throughout. And so that's the idea for that.
What's the length?
Where is that going to be?
What's the length of that?
You know, it's approximately 6 feet.
Okay.
Oh, there.
Yeah, it would be located in the Nordstrom Court, so to speak, the North Court. This is where the Dolphins used to be.
And we are coming back to you with a proposal to redo this
That
altogether, but it would
colonnade.
it would probably would make sense in the ultimate scheme of things. As far as the pots are concerned, we thought that we can basically simplify the palette and have terracotta pots. Occasionally have a glaze tile that we would use in different places for focal points.
Yeah.
As far as the landscaping is concerned, we thought that, again, we should just go back to what we typically see, you know, and orange trees and begonias.
No hibiscus, though.
Yes.
It's too susceptible to whitefly, so. It's too susceptible to whitefly, you'll have a problem. The hibiscus.
Hibiscus, yeah. Can anything be done about that?
Yeah, I can go into that later.
Okay, good. One of the things that we want our clients wanted to do on the cell where all the restaurants are, we wanted to somehow contain the tables and chairs. Right now they're all over the place, and people do move them. So the thought was to come up with some bollards that would look something like this, as you can see them, and maybe find or make one of those large marine chains, you know, that sometimes they used to throw them away here, you know, that they use for anchors. They're really heavy. I'm going to look for some. They have them made.
Mr. Tavoris, you're touching the microphone. You could just move away from it. Thank you.
Okay. This is a study that we did. Remember where there were some sculptures and things, and so we thought, well, maybe the way to deal with this, in lieu of that, is to really deal with landscaping, very simple landscaping, where we would have an arrangement of terracotta pots, a very large pot in the middle, and a tipo tree or something like that.
They get very, very, very big.
I know. I planted one in my house. It's getting big. Either it's going to break the pot or become, what do you call it?
Bonsai.
Bonsai, one of the two. And so that's in general, in a nutshell, what the landscaping would be like. As far as the awnings are concerned and umbrellas, we probably going to use something very similar to what we currently have there, and either we reuse them and re-canvas them. Furniture, we selected a very, very simple, hopefully neutral but comfortable type of furniture. And keep in mind that all the staining will all be compatible and it will match. This is a proposed chandelier that we'll have 3 of them, where it's actually three-dimensional. It's rather thick. Mm-hmm. And it would have some efficiency lighting that would actually flood the ceiling in that case.
Is that in that?
Yeah, the main, you know, under the bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, under the bridge. So this is probably repetitive, and I'm just.
Yes, I'm getting bored, Henry.
Sorry.
Yeah, you might want to speak about that.
Yeah. The thought was, where Macy's is, and we have that
The
large
flying
structure.
buttresses.
We thought it would be fun to use some of these starlights, all the same size, clear lights, but all at different levels. And the starlights would be done out of copper and just a cathedral glass.
Okay.
Instead of right here, there was a mobile. What do you call it?
Mobile art sculpture.
No, kinetic sculpture.
Kinetic sculpture. We thought that instead of that perhaps what we can do is something fun with ribbons, something that would have some color and movement, and of course, keep in mind this will be surrounded by landscaping. In terms of the height, we have an idea, but we have to test that because we probably want to make sure that it doesn't stick above everything else and then you can't see it. And so, but the concept is to have a large post. All of the post boards will have the same finial as you saw previously on the bollards. You see, and the way this would work, and we haven't really figured out the engineering of it, there will be a ring that will be inserted, and then out of the ring there will be some just clips that would allow some of these ribbons to occur. Very narrow, actually. They start out at 4 inches and maybe narrow down, because the idea is to provide continuous movement throughout. And as far as the stenciling is concerned, we have a couple of ideas. One of them is something that was done very similarly in El Paseo.
St. Francis.
The St. Francis room, that would be one option. The other option, but I don't think it's done in the package, but this is, again, maybe just a study of it. It would be, is it? This one is here? It would be just something like this. I couldn't get it subtle enough. It would be far more subtle than this, and that would occur on the underside of it. I mean, we have a million ideas for that, but
Restraint.
Something. Thanks. Something that would go with that.
Pretty much saw
This
that.
paseo has difficulties, as you know, from lighting. So the thought was to generate a very large hand-forged dish that would be approximately 6 feet in diameter, and that it would drop down, and there would be a light concealed behind it, so that it really does wash these panels up like this, as opposed to having too many fixtures. We just have a few, and then it would also tend to further lower the ceiling, but keeping that variation, I think, would be interesting. Again, we're looking at redesigning this whole thing, and we're entertaining the possibility that this should be a solid wall in which those benches would sit against, but this would be another area where this pole could perhaps occur.
So what you've done here is basically gotten rid of the,
Yes.
what would you call that? That's an arcade of some sort, or a colonnade?
I don't know.
Okay.
Somebody's idea
Yeah.
or something.
The colors for the flags would be more on the warm tones. I show a lot of colors here.
All right, I think you're done.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are you done?
One other thing, Phil. Just one other thing. You see, we really would love to introduce a couple of Italian cypresses right where the Nordstrom's building is. I wanted a poplar bill, but no one ever agrees with me on the
It's so
poplar.
big, though.
I don't know if you're going to have enough sun on that elevation of Nordstrom's.
Really, with the
With Italian cypress. You're talking about right here?
Yeah.
I know that when they originally planted that, they had some, I believe it was Yucca Whippley or something, some really nice specimens, and they just went south real fast because they didn't have enough sunlight. But
Okay.
in any
We'll
case,
have
that's
to-
okay. You
have
can
to-
continue studying that. Okay, so,
So anyway,
I'm
the
going
rest
to
of
wrap
it is-
you up then, Mr. Linney, and go to public comment. Mr. DeForest.
Yeah. Looking at these beautiful
Paseo Nuevo improvements, excuse me, looking at these beautiful Paseo Nuevo improvements, my question is, or not, I can't ask a question.
No, you can't.
My statement is the lounge chairs, the ribbon poles, and maybe even the chandeliers do not fit the Paseo Nuevo guidelines, in my opinion.
Are there Paseo Nuevo guidelines, or you mean?
Not Paseo Nuevo guidelines,
Thank you.
Pueblo Viejo guidelines.
All right, thank you, Mr. DeForest. I will close public comment and move to the commission. Any questions from Commissioner Arias?
No, I'm rather enjoying all this. But I sort of wonder if you make the ribbons long enough, you can have maypole dances.
Yeah. Couldn't be retractable.
But don't make them long enough that you can just...
No, no.
Okay. Commissioner Boucher, any questions?
Where have you been, Henry?
I was waiting there for.
Commissioner Murray, any questions?
I think it looks good, Henry.
That was a comment. Commissioner Lavoie.
No question.
Commissioner Somber. No questions from me. Any comments, Commissioner Schallenberger?
No, with regard to furniture and
Finish, well, appurtenances, it has to be pretty egregious for me to object, and this is not the case here. This all seems to, I respectfully disagree with Mr. DeForest. I think all of these products and materials are within the guidelines, and I do appreciate the thought and the artistic creativity that's gone into the proposal.
Commissioner Lavoie.
I agree with that comment, although I do find
The upholstered furniture shown on pages 6 and 7 to be a little too contemporary.
Commissioner Murray.
Yeah, I really like this guy. And compared to the ones we had from the last time, I was really worried. I thought, oh my goodness, it's going to look like Las Vegas, so this is good. So, I'm glad. I'm not fond of the ribbon, though, so we'll see.
Okay. Commissioner Boucher, any other comments?
I
Commissioner
love
Boucher?
the ribbons.
Okay, great.
And I pretty much agree with Bill on the seating.
Okay. Commissioner
The upholstered pieces.
Commissioner Arias, any?
I like the starlight with that. I think that's cool. That's really, yeah, it's cool. As Lee said. It's really nice. I think it's going to liven it up and make it a lot more pleasant to be there.
Okay.
May I ask
Yeah.
a question? Henry, I don't know if you are aware of this, but some of the vines are beginning to take up the bricks
Oh.
when you go toward Macy's.
Okay.
On the center thing, I noticed that there's a trumpet vine, for example. It's getting really massive in the planter, and it's beginning to push up the bricks. So you might look at that.
yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Boucher. I agree with most of the comments that have been said, except with the starlight comments on page 9. We have to be careful there, Henry. It's creative and it could be fun, but I don't see the basis in historical tradition for that. So maybe you can prove me otherwise, but that's an important paseo right off of State Street. It's a tricky paseo because of that flying buttress, and I know that when it was designed and when it was planted, it was very tricky, and I don't think the stars are the right solution. I also agree with Commissioner Lavoie's comment about the furniture and the upholstered furniture being a bit on the contemporary side. So I will sum up the comments. This is a very artistic and creative solution to your amenities. The upholstered furniture is a bit too contemporary, and I guess I'm the only commissioner that feels that the star lights under the flying buttresses are inappropriate. So I guess you could say one commissioner feels that the starlight solution, starlight pendant, is inappropriate
I've seen beautiful
on page 9.
things.
We're going to have to take them on a field trip.
Two commissioners feel that the starlight pendants are not based in historical.
Mr. Chair, maybe just maybe we should just take a straw vote on that element.
Okay, if that's what the commission would like to do, straw vote on the whether or not the commission can support the starlight pendants as shown on page 9 in the Paseo number 6.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question before we do that?
Uh-huh.
Maybe they would be more acceptable if they were just a single.
What do you mean?
Well, is this one down the pole from it, or is this
No,
hanging?
no, that's behind it.
Oh,
So the
okay.
it's not suspended from
Okay,
that one.
okay, I got it. Okay,
It's
so that
independent of-
answers my question.
Okay. So, how many commissioners can support the use of the starlight pendants in Paseo 6 as proposed? 1, 2, 3.
I'm kind of neutral, so I'm not voting.
Okay. So,
I could go both ways.
hold on, please. The straw vote is 3 could support it, 4 could not or were questionable.
Mr. Chair?
I count 6.
Oh, then it was 3 against 3. Sorry.
Perhaps we could request the applicant to look into possible other alternatives.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Or provide some
But I think
historical reference for it.
gives a boost to going in that
I
way.
agree.
Microphone.
Okay. We'll look at some other
Okay.
options.
There you have it. This is,
Mr. Chair, make a motion for
Yeah.
design approval?
Second?
preliminary design approval?
Preliminary design approval?
Okay.
Project.
Design,
Project, sorry, excuse me. Public display of affection. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
by the return to the full board consent on,
full board.
okay.
So we had a motion by Lavoy and a second by
Down that way.
Boucher. Okay, so it was a Lavoy and Boucher.
May we request a continuance to next meeting?
2-week continuance, you may have it.
Progress.
You may have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you both.
One more.
Oh, yes, of course. This is item number 12.
You could also give direction, send it back to
Henry?
the sign committee.
You're seeking final next time?
On this one, okay. Okay, so this is a third concept review. Action may be taken if sufficient information is provided, and it's a proposal to revise the existing sign program with updated wayfinding trailblazer signage, updated logo graphics, logo typeface for better signage legibility.
Well, the concept in
Could you
general...
please introduce yourself?
Yes, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Henry Lunny Design Studio.
And Ryan Mills of PME.
Welcome again.
The concept in general is all going to be very much simpler than what you saw before. And in general, they're all going to be quarter-inch torch-cut letters that are hammered. And that same approach will be taken in, but these are the various locations, but it will be consistent. And Ryan and I and our clients felt that some simplicity would call for, I think, particularly with signage. As far as the main Paseo Nuevo monument sign, it's not a monument sign, but a sign, the thought would be to significantly reduce the size of it. One of your comments was that we mustn't block the view from De La Guerra Street. So I think we compact this as much as possible. You can see it in plan. That is actually smaller than what they have there now. And in low using 2, we would use 1. We would have Well, simply for the purposes of receiving the iron letters. And then from here, we'll just do something on top of it. And we thought that we can carry the same theme as the ribbons. That would occur in various locations. And let me just see if there's any thing.
It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot more.
No, there's not a lot more.
This is important. Page 9, please.
Yes, page 9. The thought, is it page 9?
Page 9, yes.
Oh,
Okay.
Howard.
oh yeah.
And I'm going to read the motion that was made that was just handed to me. Ironwork shall be substantial for traditional construction. All elements need to be in accordance with the design standards described in the El Pueblo Viejo Landmark District Guidelines. Font style shall be more Hispanic. Letter height shall not exceed 10 inches in height per the sign ordinance. The Commission does not support the closure, enclosing, or narrowing of the entrance to any of the paseos, particularly the De La Guerra Street Paseo. I'm sorry, continue. Thank you.
All right. The same theme here on the tower with the 10-inch letters and the shield and the sunburst, which is the logo. The flags would contain some, what would you call it? Not diminishing, but a narrowing of flagpoles.
Tapering?
Tapering of flagpoles that would tape on this. Everything would be pin-mounted. And as far as the lighting is concerned, I think we'll probably just use LED lights behind it so that everything is concealed. So there won't be any light shining or visibly shining against this thing. On the parking sign, the thought, that's on page 12, the thought again would be to take a steel plate and then take the torch cut letters and place them on top of the plate and then gold leaf them and then do a little car on top of it. And so that would be the concept. The brackets would be very simple, almost non-visible. So, in a nutshell, I think that's kind of the concept that we're taking as far as the signage is concerned.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Linney. I'll open public comment. Seeing no one, I will close public comment and questions from the Commission. Commissioner Schallenberger?
I don't have any question, but
Okay.
before questions, this came through subcommittee last year, or earlier this year, I should say, and just this is responding to and consistent with what was discussed at subcommittee.
Great. Thank you for that insight. Any other questions or questions? Anyone? Okay. Comments? Anyone? Bueller?
Huh?
Never mind. Commissioner.
Wait a minute. Mr. Schellenberger is correct, and I think this is very nice. This is pretty much what we had agreed on, and I think it's, of all the things I've seen presented, this is... I understand there's a chocolate shop going in. Maybe you remember your old chocolate for the Godiva place? It was a wonderful three-dimensional piece of chocolate. It was
Okay. Any other
sensational.
comments?
Cut me off, will you?
Sorry.
Make a motion for design approval with final drawings to come back to the consent calendar.
So a motion by Lavoie, second by Orias, and this is going to the signed consent calendar, the next signed consent calendar meeting in 2 weeks. And I'd just like to add the comment that this proposal is consistent with the subcommittee's last review and comment. Okay, I am done, and I am adjourning this to the police station site visit on Tuesday, August 23rd.
I will not be there.
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't vote on that motion. Okay, all in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And Mr. Chair, you had something about that site.
I did, and you know what? Let me read that. I think I...
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. The question was, Can you explain to the HLC why there will be a site visit before the project is seen? This is referring to the police station on Figueroa, East Figueroa. The response from Mr. Busk was, the Planning Commission is getting an update on the project on August 25th at a joint meeting with the Fire and Police Commission. The HLC was invited to that site visit due to logistical constraints in organizing the site visit to an operational police station. It is anticipated that the HLC will have the first review of the actual project in January of 2012. Only the basic parameters of the project have been outlined at this point. The building has not been designed yet. So I really need to poll how many people are going to go on as to whether or not I need to adjourn to that. Because if there's less than 4 people, we don't need to adjourn to it, do we?
I cannot make it.
We're going to post, if there is a desire to attend, we'll have a site visit posting, so it doesn't really
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
We'll
Okay.
post it.
Yeah, okay. So then we're done. We can adjourn.
Staff report.